Hello everyone and welcome to Metro TV. I am your host Andy Hoig. I'm also publisher and CEO of Metro Magazine. Today we have a really great lineup of organizations. We have ladies from the CHI Health, and they'll be talking about the SANE program. We also have the American Red Cross with us today, and our cover story in Metro Magazine featuring Nebraska Children's Home Society Executive Director is here joining us as well. So don't go away, we'll be right back. And welcome back. With me from the Nebraska Children's Home Society is Lana Temple-Plotz, CEO. Lana, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So big year for the Nebraska Children's
Yes.
Home Society, 125 years.
Yes.
Hard to believe. Let's talk a little bit about how it all started way back when.
Sure, yeah. We started in 1893, so 125 years old this year. Started by Reverend Queevy and his wife, Mary Ava. I always love to mention her name because you know she did at least half the work.
Yes, oh for sure, for sure.
But they came to Nebraska with the goal of really focusing in on kids and children. There was a lot of children in need, a lot of poverty back then, and their focus was really on focusing on kids and making sure that children stayed out of orphanages.
Yeah.
So they're part of the Children's Home Society movement, which again was focused on placing children in homes, not institutions. And so they originally took children into their own home, and then as they grew the organization, children were placed all across the state.
Okay, and tell me, as we look at the past 125 years, one of the things that's kind of new this year is you created a new logo.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so talk about that. Why is that important?
So our new logo is really important because it shows the diversity of our organization and all the things we're working on. And so it's focused on one continuous line around a child and all the families, individuals that are part of that family that both are in the home and outside of the home to support that child.
Yeah. And the services, let's just talk a little bit about the services that you provide today.
Sure. So we've really focused in on 4 areas: adoption, foster care, family support, and early childhood education. Of course, we have a long history with adoption and foster care. We've done that throughout our whole entire history, but we really are doing a lot more focused on family support, which is prevention, early intervention. Our goal is really the child first, so children first in everything we do, and we want to focus in on whatever the parents need and the help that they need.
And where do you provide these services at?
So we're statewide. We have 11 offices across the state in 9 locations. So Omaha here, we have three locations, and then across the state, Lincoln, Norfolk, North Platte, Grand Island, and Kearney, and Scottsbluff. Okay.
Well, one of the reasons you're sitting here, in addition to 125 years, I will just show this. You are on the cover of our October-November issue that just came out. It's just hitting the streets and people's mailboxes now. And, you know, I was reading through the story, and I really was touched by the gentleman, Carson,
Kent,
Carson, okay. So he's the grandson
of Randall B. Ark.
Okay, that worked for the children's home. And it was interesting to read how he, you know, if he got a call, because this was like 1932 to...
Absolutely.
I think he was there like for 25 years or so.
Yes, he was there a very long time.
So this was back in the day, as they were saying, where he would get a call from Scottsbluff, and he would just head out to Scottsbluff to pick up a child or children. And at that time, there were no really paved highways. I mean, there were a few, but very minimal. Sometimes not even dirt roads. So I mean, whether it was him or somebody else, it was just so important to go get a child. And I can't even imagine what it would be like how long it would take.
Yeah, it's crazy just to think about, because I know even when we started in 1893, one of the goals was to get volunteers from across the state, and we had 93 councils, one in each county. and those councils were responsible for looking at the needs of their community
Yeah.
and figuring out who are the families in need in our community and how can we help them. And they'd have volunteers that go out to people's homes, and if, say, there was a woman whose husband had just died, like in a farming accident, and she was struggling, our volunteers would go out and help this family and maybe place the children in another home that might be down the road a little bit, either by car or by train, and volunteers would take those children to that next location. So really, it's just amazing as an organization, 125 years of just community-wide support.
And what has just happened over that 125 years to what, now is we're just used to this and that, and back then it was challenging, communication and transportation and all that.
Absolutely.
So I also just want to speak, as you know, my connection with the Children's Home is I'm a birth mother.
Yes.
And 18 years ago gave birth to a little girl at a time in my life where making an adoption plan was the right thing for me. So, but never really looking at an adoption. I mean, it just changes the way you look at it when you go through that process. And so many people are impacted, whether it's me, whether it's my family, whether it's the adoptive family. And I will say you have been a part of my life ever since or before this little girl was born.
Right.
And I remember afterwards, because though it was the right thing to do, it was the most difficult. And I had no idea.
Yeah, heart-wrenching,
I actually really enjoyed being pregnant, and when this little girl was born, I just, a part of you is amputated in a way, even though it's the right thing. And Nebraska Children's Home Society, you guys were there with me. Up until this day, I know if I ever need anything, I can come back and talk to you and talk to.
Yeah, well, I think that's just part of the joy of working for this organization. I mean, 125 years we've been focused on children and the families that surround those children. And so our goal is to help anyone who needs our help in whatever way that they need it. And once you come through our doors, you're with us for life. So you can call us today, you can call us 10 years from now, you can call us 15 years from now, 20. And we're there to help you with whatever you need. And that's one of the things that I love about working for the Children's Home is that our first question is, how can we help and what do you need? And we figure it out.
Yeah, you do. You do.
It's great.
So how can the community help Nebraska Children's Home? I know there's various ways. You've been in our giving guide for years, so there's lots of great ways. But tell us, how can people help to support your organization?
Yeah, so the Giving Guide is a great example because we've had individuals look up in the Giving Guide and come to us and say, we heard you needed blankets or we heard you needed supplies. So, for us, donations are always helpful, either monetary donations or physical donations of blankets or diapers. Volunteering, we love to have volunteers come to us. That's really important to us. If you're interested in fostering or learning more about parenting and how to be a better parent, or you feel like you have been a good parent or you have things to add to parenting, in your particular case, I know that might have been opportunities in the past for you to talk to other birth mothers about your experience.
Always
and how,
happy to do that again.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And even to adoptive parents who sometimes are struggling to figure out how is this going to work and being able to talk with them.
Yeah, I do remember I did speak to a group probably within the first year, and they were adopted parents, just to say this is what my experience as a birth mother was, because they don't know, and it's just new. It's just such a interesting journey for everybody, because you're not necessarily there because you want to be.
Yes.
Whether you can't have children or you're having a child and you're like, this is just not the right time or the right thing for me.
Yes.
You're brought together by circumstances that aren't ideal and whatnot. So
well, and I think that's the other piece about the Children's Home that I really appreciate is the education that we provide.
Yes.
So to you, when you were in your situation, to the adoptive parents, just to make sure that everyone has all the information they need to make informed choices and informed decisions, whatever those decisions are.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And I also want to say you do have a young professionals organization. They have an event once a year called Homegrown.
Yes.
Which is a great event, but just happened last week.
Yes.
So, but this is a way for young professionals to get involved.
Absolutely. It's called Branch,
Yeah.
and it's all focused on raising awareness and education and raising funds for the children's home.
Right.
So if you have young professionals out there who are interested in learning more about Branch, they can call us at Nebraska Children's Home, speak to me or one of our folks and learn more about it.
It's a pretty strong, solid YP organization.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do great things. Yeah, we're having an event, and that's always fun, and opportunity to get together and learn more. So yeah.
So let's again talk about how people can learn more with the website.
Yeah, so www.nchs.org.
Okay.
You can go to the website.
And there's lots of information there, I know.
Yes, they can read about us in your in the new Metro magazine.
And again, it just came out. It's you can pick it up. It's for sale at the Bookworm, other locations around town. I know we're going to be giving you guys many copies to have at your location, which is 118th and Q Street.
Yes.
So again, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I just really appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
And thank you. And we will be right back. Welcome back, and here with me from CHI Health, I have Jody Hayes and Kathy Tremmel. Thank you so much for joining me today, ladies. You're here, we're going to be talking about the SANE program at CHI Health. So let's start with you, Jody. You're the SANE supervisor. What exactly is the SANE program?
The SANE program is a sexual assault nurse examiner program. It provides services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking at all of our local area hospitals.
And again, just talking about both men and women, like you said, it's not gender specific when we talked earlier before the show. But what makes CHI's SANE program different from others in the Omaha area?
Our CHI hospitals are spread throughout the city, and then we also have CHI Mercy in Council Bluffs. So you're really able to go to an emergency department or a hospital within your community, close to where you live, which is a huge comfort, especially to our victims.
Sure. And what exactly is a SANE nurse?
So a SANE nurse is a registered nurse that has undergone specialized training in forensics to conduct examinations, document injuries, photograph those injuries, provide that trauma-informed, patient-centered care that the patient needs when they come to us during that traumatic event.
And is that what you are, Kathy?
Correct.
Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about the components of the exam. You know, whatever's bringing them to there is traumatic itself, but this is also something that, you know, you have to take a lot of care. So what exactly are the components to that exam?
Well, for me, I understand that it's very hard for patients to come forward and report the assault. They fear that they're not going to be believed, that they're going to be blamed, that they're going to be judged for what they did prior to the event. So I always like to thank my patients for coming and for coming in and for coming forward and opening up to me about the exam. Also, I think it's important that our locations, we have designated rooms, designated areas that provide comfort, privacy, security, where we can conduct the exam, make them feel comfortable, make them feel safe, let them know that they're trusted and that we're going to take care of all of their needs. So it's very important that at all of our locations that we have that for them. And then we just, you know, every trauma, every patient is completely different, so we just have to let them guide the process, and we give them what they need and what they want, and we make sure that they have all of those needs met before they leave.
Is there, like, how long does an exam typically take?
There isn't a real time
Okay.
frame that we can place. It's just based on the injury, the trauma,
Sure.
what the patient needs. We do call in advocates. They come in and provide support and education. It's basically what the patient needs.
And so one of the topic points that I want to ask is, why is a space designated specifically for the same program?
Privacy and comfort.
Maintain dignity,
Yeah.
for the most part.
And I know we were talking just out front before we got on camera, just kind of how many folks came to see you last year versus this year, and you're just seeing the numbers kind of rising. First, I think because you're now doing this.
Correct.
And do you have any other thoughts about those numbers?
So our numbers have increased 50% over the last year, from 2017
Yeah.
to at our numbers currently. I think it's more due to awareness,
Yeah.
not just within our CHI Health program, but nationally,
Okay.
and citywide as well. When more people recognize that there's help and resources for them, they're more willing to seek assistance
Right.
in these times of need.
For sure. And let's just talk, before we wrap up, what is the Survivors Bill of Rights 2016, and what is the state of Nebraska doing to support the same program?
So the Survivors Bill of Rights basically has made it so any victim of sexual assault can receive a medical exam and not be charged for that exam,
Okay.
as it relates to the sexual assault itself. The state of Nebraska has made great strides over the last couple of years. There's a law in place where they hired a state forensic nurse to oversee all of the SANE programs across the state of Nebraska, and to build protocols and maintain competency across the entire state. There's also been the payment program that has been produced through the legislature that reimburses hospitals that provide these exams for
Okay.
patients. And we have also passed legislation to help victims of human trafficking, and to also decrease or revamp our mandatory reporting laws
Okay.
for sexual
Yeah.
assaults.
I mean, such important work that this program is in, and that you ladies are doing. So I just want to thank you. Just thank you so much. How can people find out more about this? Is there a website?
There is education on
Yep.
the CHI Health website. We partner with the Women's Center for Advancement and
Okay.
Heartland Family Services. That is our advocate for the different communities
Okay.
that we service. And they all have websites as well.
And I guess before we leave, just as viewers are watching, do you take donations? How can people help? Is there a way that they can financially donate to support this program?
If they would like to, they can contact the CHI Health Foundation.
Okay.
We are always willing to accept donations.
Sure, absolutely.
For sustainability for our program.
Yeah.
And different needs that we
Okay.
have throughout.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I just again want to thank you both so much for coming, and again, that website one last time.
It's CHI Health.
Okay, and I just want to thank you, and we will be right back. Well, welcome back. I'm here with Rochelle Lipker. She is the Executive Director of American Red Cross Omaha Council Bluffs Metro Area Chapter. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I mean, everybody knows what the American Red Cross is, but there's so many different things that you do. So what we're going to talk specifically today is your disaster cycle services, and what is it doing locally and also nationally?
Yeah, since September 7th, we have been deploying our volunteers and staff to help with Hurricane Florence that has hit the East Coast, as of September 14th. And so with our partners, we've provided over 1.32 million meals and snacks.
Wow.
And provided over 120,000 nights of stay in our shelters, and we still have shelters that are open. So it's an amazing feat to watch from afar, but it's even more awesome when you're right there in the trenches.
Absolutely. So how has Hurricane Florence, how has it affected people locally?
Yeah, so we have disasters. So the Red Cross responds to about 66,000 disasters every year. And so Hurricane Florence has, take some of our trained volunteers, and we've sent them over to the East Coast to help. But we respond every single day to local disasters such as home fires. And so we need additional help to respond to those, but also with our blood services.
Yeah.
A lot of the areas that have been impacted on the East Coast, we're not able to collect blood donations. So we're needing to kind of step up and roll up our sleeves and help. So absolutely.
Well, and let's just talk a little bit about blood donation, because that's such an important piece of what you do. So people here locally, do you have blood drives set up? How can people find out where to go? I mean, I see the blood mobile driving around to different locations, but tell us just a little bit about what are the steps that we need to take for those of us wanting to give blood? Yeah,
absolutely. So you can download the blood donor app, the American Red Cross blood donor app. You can download that on your favorite, whether you have an Android phone or an iPhone, you can download it for free. You can search by location, time of day, search by when you're going to have free time. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org to schedule your donation. And so whether you're a first-time donor or somebody who's been donating a long time, that blood is absolutely needed. Yeah. Every 2 seconds, somebody in America needs blood or blood product, and blood cannot be manufactured. It has to come from a human, and so we just definitely need the blood and blood products.
And how often can somebody give blood?
So that really depends. So if you're giving a whole unit of blood, you can donate every 56 days. But if you do platelets, that I believe it's every 7 days. So you can go into your blood donor app. You can ask when you call, and they will definitely tell you.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about other lines of service that you have. You have preparedness, health and safety, first aid, CPR, AED classes?
We do. So that's our preparedness, health, and safety line of service. And so, you just never know when you're going to be the first person onto a scene and you need to respond. So we train people every day on what to do in cases of emergencies, whether it's performing CPR or somebody has a cut and you need to attend to that. So you can also find more information out about, the preparedness, health, and safety line by visiting our website or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS to find out your nearest class.
Okay, because again, I think first aid, CPR especially, are just important classes to have some kind of knowledge in and be able to just act in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely. And most people remember when you had to spend 6 or 8 hours in a class. We now have blended learning. So you can take a lot of that class at home and then come in and test out. Yeah, so it's only a couple hours. So instead of spending an entire day, it's just a couple hours right there in class and demonstrating your skills and testing out.
Yeah.
So that makes it very much, very convenient for a lot of people.
Love technology.
Love it.
And how it helps that way. And just want to touch on services to the armed forces.
Yeah, so we're commissioned by Congress to do emergency messaging. And I think people forget that we still have our military members overseas. And so we do a lot of support to our military members and their families, reunification workshops, get to know us before you need us kind of thing. And so then, the military is always working and always working behind the scenes. There's so much that we don't see that's happening each and every day.
Yeah. And then finally, just briefly, let's talk about international services.
So this is our best kept secret. So we have what's called reconnecting loved ones. And so what happens is a lot of times people are displaced from their loved ones because either a natural disaster or war or conflict. And so, you know, they don't know if their loved one is alive or deceased. And so we can open up a free confidential case to try and locate their loved ones. And so that's a really neat program that we have.
Okay. Well, Rochelle, thank you so much. I know you guys are in our giving guide that we put out every year, and there's a nice little one page that also gives some other ways to help and share what you guys do and making donations. Tell us again a website where people can go to learn more.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about either volunteering or just any of the services we provide, you can go to redcross.org or you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
And then lastly, you do have an annual luncheon in March.
We do.
Because it's Red Cross Awareness Month, I believe, March.
Yes, yes, and so and we honor heroes, local heroes, and so
Yes,
that's
it's
an
a great-
amazing. Yeah, it's a great breakfast or lunch, you know, whichever time we have it.
Yeah, so, all right, well, thank you once again for coming, and we hope you will all check out Give Blood, learn CPR through the American Red Cross. So thank you, and we will be right back. Well, thank you for joining us today. Just a couple notes. The new issue is out, and you can read it online at www.spiritofomaha.com. You can purchase a copy at the bookstore or pick up a copy at one of our advertising partners. Also encouraging you to vote now. We are voting for the Big Connection, our big event in January. So we've got 30 organizations up for the Big Connection honor. So go to spiritofomaha.com as well and vote for your favorite charity event. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.